Good morning. Happy Wednesday. It's Wednesday, October 8th. This is not an update for today. This is an overall update for what the energy is doing with this 3D to 5D consciousness shift and actually like a shift in the physical reality of the energy. So this is one of those important ones. I am being suppressed again, so make sure you're following me because then you can go up to the little feed of following and actually see the people that you're following, whether they've made new videos or not. You can follow me on the Shmoo Shmoobs. You can find all of the tools that are available for you. And just a quick shout out to Jackie from my Spiritual Awakening Sanctuary because this topic came from her. And if you want to know more about joining that, you can check that out where the tools are. Hi, my name is Paula Taylor. I'm a sound and energy activator, intuitive reader and channeler, body worker and fearless alchemist, and I coach people on the path to spiritual awakening. So Jackie had left this comment that said, it sounds like you left part of you in Santa Barbara. And I realized that was literally true. And this is all of this like came out of that comment. So just another shout out and thank you to her. And I'm going to keep using this as my example because this is like kind of hard to wrap your mind around. And I'm going to try to do this as quickly as I can. It was 1:11 when I said that already. And so just a quick kind of recap of some of the other things we've talked about in terms of this shift in reality. So we were talking about the Kraft single wrapped in the cellophane. And I said that the ooey gooey cheese-like product in the center was the 3D. It's like at this point it's the collective that doesn't want to shift, that's resisting the shift, that's doubling down, that's refusing to look at the things that aren't working for us, that like doesn't want to move into this more expansive space. And at first we were talking about just the cellophane that was wrapped around the cheese, like that was the 5D consciousness, this like expansion into more love, more clarity, more expansion, more harmony. And then I had said that the cellophane was kind of opening, and that was opening even more access to these huge activations, these kind of multidimensional experiences. Well, now it's getting even more complex than that. So there's multiple versions of reality. There's all these different timelines. At any given time, you know, there's almost probably infinite timelines. And every time you make kind of a big decision in your life, like you choose a timeline, and it's all a resonance thing. You're resonating with the timeline until you're not, and then maybe you're resonating with a different timeline. But the timeline that you shift out of sort of keeps going. So there's all these different versions of you, this differentiation of you. We're not even getting into like past and parallel and future lives. That's like way too complicated. Just this version of you has different timelines, different potential timelines, different timelines that you've moved off of. And what's happening right now is that all of those timelines have been like stacked. It's like all of the cheese and the cellophane just look like one thing because it was all stacked so closely together. And we have this rise of the divine feminine. And I was thinking about like, why do we call it the rise of the divine feminine? When I heard her talk to me in Cozumel, it literally like the voice came out of a hole in the ground. It was like connected to this cenote. It's the energy of the earth. It's this divine feminine that again now is awakening as the Shakti destroyer of worlds, as she keeps saying to me. And also she said to me, if you recall the other day, what did you think that destroying your world would be easy? And like, this is kind of where we're at now. So essentially what's happening is that the divine feminine energy, this energy is like rising up and it's pushing apart these Kraft single layers of all these different timeline versions of yourself. And what that means is you might be actually aware for the first time or more aware that there are different versions of yourself living different lives. So like, there's a version of me that never left Santa Barbara. There's a version of me that was just like, I can't come back to my old life. I'm just staying here. Like, and I feel that version of myself. And I feel really connected to that version of myself to the point where there was a piece of this version of me that's like still there. And the problem with that is that we cannot be effective in the physical plane if we're not fully present in our physical bodies. We are energetic beings in a physical body, but we've got to be connected and present in the physical body. And for whatever reason, this differentiation of me, I mean, it's for obvious reasons. Like, I didn't just leave my life. I came back to my life. And then I set the intention to kind of expand my life into this other frequency that I felt while I was in Santa Barbara. And there's like a version of me that just like never came back. And I feel so connected to that version of me that I've been actually having like flashes of a different timeline where I'm like doing different things and like I'm with different people. And it's been very confusing. And like, it's really been occupying my mental space. Like I was lying down the other night and I was like, this is not how I usually am. Like I couldn't get out of my mental space because this stuff is essentially like so real to me that it feels like I'm in two places at once. And it's not just, it's different than it usually is. And this is partly what led me into this sort of understanding. This is not just happening for me. This is just a really good example of it. And it's a fairly obvious example because like I went somewhere and then I came back. And so it's like, there's part of me that's still there, sitting on the beach and talking to the people there that I met and like doing things there. And then there's like the me who came back, who's kind of like not fully back because I'm still connected to that version of myself. And in this timeline, I am here. I am here in Tucson, Arizona, and I have to be effective here by being fully present. So I can set the intention that I want to allow my frequency to shift to a place where I can go back there and like be in that space of expansion. But I'm not really in a space of expansion if I'm not fully in my own time, in my own reality. I can shift my reality, but only if I'm here present to do that. I don't know if any of this is making sense. I'm hoping the example part of it is. So right now you are probably having a lot of weird symptoms. And these are like all or nothing things. Like I've been sleeping a ton and it's partly because my body is just tired and trying to kind of recover. But part of it is like, there's part of me, like if I want to be in another place than where I'm at, then my mind, this body wants to go to sleep. And then in my dream world, I can like be in this other place and I can be like where I feel like I want to be or whatever it is. Like I can be in Santa Barbara and not in Tucson, essentially, just to try to keep this simple. And I will say, I sat here for about 10 minutes before I made this video because this feels really vulnerable to talk about, and I'm being really authentic, and I've really been struggling with this until I had this awareness, and then it was like, I need all of my energy in this space. It does not serve us to have our energy split into different realities. And it's going to be harder like to do that when this split is happening and it's more obvious. I've been working with multidimensional reality for like 4 or 5 years, probably longer, but like intentionally through the dimensional frequency expansion, the angelic light language that I teach. So I'm kind of like, this is a space that I'm sort of comfortable in, but if you've never been in this space, what you're going to feel like is like tons of weird deja vu moments, like feeling like you're in the wrong place or you're not in the right time, or like I put something here and then it was really there. It's like the timeline shifting stuff, but it's not like a big collective timeline shift. It's like you are shifting multiple times throughout the day into these different timelines because they've literally like spread out and they're more accessible to you. So this is going to require a lot of grounding and like being in the physical body, nervous system regulation, because your nervous system's not meant to be in multiple places at once. It's a mammal and it's like, what the heck's happening? So be gentle with yourself and just understand like this is the beginning of another one of those big shifts. And what happens sometimes is like I look back at stuff from like a year ago. I get a video from a year ago and I'm like, oh man, that felt really crazy in the time. And now I'm like, oh, that's so tame. So like, we're going to get used to this. This is going to like become something that feels more normal to us. But as we're moving into it, you're probably feeling really weird and like just kind of out of time or out of space, or like the old things that served you don't serve you anymore, but you're like not in the new things yet. And it's like a really weird liminal because it's literally like a between dimensional realities liminal. And I know I talked a lot, but that was really important. So just for a quick activation here, close your eyes, hand on the heart. Don't do this while you're driving. Put something in the comments to consent. I am fully present in my physical body, something like that. Kwe te kana a te kia te ka ua na kai te kia te kea na ka u te kana te kia te kea na ka a te kia na kua te kai na kia te kea na kai te ka. Kwe shana kai te kia te kea na kai te kua na kai te ke. Kwe shana tai ka tia te kea na kai te kua na kai te kea na ka. Uyama sei ai Remember that even if there is a frequency that you want to shift into, you cannot do that unless you are fully present here. And what is meant for you will stay. What is meant for you will be there. You will have multiple opportunities to get there. You are so loved. You are so supported. Have a beautiful rest of your day.